Hi everybody. This year's theme for 2023 is lasting impact, because we know what we need to do most of the time, but we don't get into the consistent habit in order to keep it going. So I'm going to give you some clues here, some easy hints, so you will always understand it's time to focus and stick with the program. Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Ann Homick from Homick Advanced Chiropractic. I am the creator of the Brain First protocol, because when you put the brain first, the body follows, and brain first is body freedom. So as far as lasting impact goes, I want to talk about an easy way to remind yourself, and that spells impact. I love the mnemonics, so get your little piece of paper out and write this down. IMPACT, impact. How can you impact your life? Because when people come into the office and get adjusted, I want them to impact their adjustment so they get more mileage out of it. And my practice members know that you impact today's adjustment with last week's adjustment, because chiropractic is a maintenance program to keep resetting the brain to that functional pattern that you want to live with. If you don't like a pattern, you can change that. And that's what chiropractic is about, changing the pattern that you may have taught your brain over time. All the exposures have trained your brain to respond to stress a certain way. And your brain is always going to assess your environment and then decide to do something. You may not like it. It may be a good response. It may be an unhappy response, but your brain is doing the correct thing. It's trying to take good care of you. So the best way to understand that is to look at everything that's your brain is exposed to, and are you being a partner with your brain, or are you hindering your brain? Because everything your brain does is correct, and we just have to understand what direction are we going in. So impact, if you spell impact, you are going to know that I stands for intelligence, M mechanics, P psychology, A adjustment, C chemical, and T teach. If you can remember those, you've got it made. You totally are on the right path. So what am I talking about when I say impact? Intelligence, mechanics, psychology, adjustment, chemical, and teach. Let's start right at the beginning. I stands for intelligence, because the brain sets priority. I'm asking you to be a partner with your brain. You have the innate intelligence that's always responding to your environment. That innate intelligence is going to automatically do what needs to be done. And if you remember my orientation video, the first thing we talk about is how an acorn, yay big, grows into this humongous, massive tree. And nobody has to do anything. Nothing, not at all. It waits patiently for the soil to be right, the temperature to be right. I suppose the weather needs to be right, and the sunshine and the rain. When that all is at the right balance, that acorn starts growing, and it will keep growing. And that's the innate intelligence. When your brain is responding to the environment, and it's always appropriate. I almost stumbled on my own words. Everything that a brain does is correct for the situation. You may not like it. You may be in pain, yes, but that pain is purposeful. You may think I'm off my rocker, but this is the way to look at how your body's working, so you can do the right things to be a partner with your brain. So intelligence. And that brain is going to kick into fight or flight depending on your stress level, or freeze or faint depending on how much energy you've burned up. And we're going to focus on rebuilding the body. You might be in intense rebuilding, or you might be in balance. Those are the 5 things I want to look at, because your intelligent brain is always working. Are you in fight or flight, freeze or faint? Rebuilding, intense rebuilding, are you in balance where the daily demands are being handled by your body? So that's intelligence. And that's how we talk to the brain. Understanding where is your brain at and how can you be the partner with your brain. If that's a little confusing, hang on, we got more to come. M stands for mechanics. And this is where we're looking at flexibility and movement of the body and tension fluctuations, because you're going in and out of tension. That's just how the body works. That's how the brain responds to the stresses of your environment. That's the mechanics. And as a chiropractor, the mechanics of your spine tell me how much stress you're under. Because if your spine is compressed, you are definitely in fight or flight. And your brain thinks it's an emergency and will do everything it takes to protect you. And if we decompress the spine, we help the brain realize that it's okay, let's get into relaxation mood. Let's get into that state of vagus, the parasympathetic nervous system. Let's get into that state where it's easier to repair and rebuild and digest and do all the normal everyday functions. That's the mechanics part of it. And how well are you moving your whole body, the flexibility? Are you exercising? How easy is it for you to walk through the store? How do you enjoy taking hikes? Is it fun and is it comfortable? That's the mechanics. Because if your brain is active, your body is active. Let's go on to P for psychology. This is where your thoughts and your interpretation of events turn on the brain. You can turn on the primal protective responses for your brain, and your brain goes into action. But it's how is your brain perceiving? Because you may perceive things differently than another person. Imagine a car accident at Four Corners, a busy intersection, and there's people at different parts of the area, and everybody sees it differently. Depending on your viewpoint, where you are, the accident will be different in your brain. So your brain is going to perceive things a certain way based on your past experiences and past exposures. That's what you taught your brain in the past. So your interpretation of events is going to turn on brain activity. And you may be turning it on too much, or in a way that's inappropriate to you. You find it no longer purposeful to you. You think it's too painful. Your body's reacting, overreacting. And that's the psychology part of our impact mnemonic. And that's also a way of talking to the brain. Let's move on to A. A is adjustment. Why? Because I'm a chiropractor and we adjust the spine. And I ask you, how do you impact your adjustment? Do you just come in the office, get adjusted, and go leave? Or do you have a new plan for better living? Because the adjustment clears the slate. And then you have the opportunity to give your brain new information, new habits, new behaviors. And how do you impact your adjustment? You get adjusted again. You get on that maintenance schedule. You impact today's adjustment with last week's adjustment. You're building the foundation. And that's how we move the brain with the chiropractic adjustment. Let's move on to C, chemical. So what do I look at when I say chemical? We're looking at nutrient ingestion. Are you getting the right nutrients? Can your body break down your food? Can your nutrients get absorbed properly? Are you exposed to toxins? Because that disrupts the process. And do you have a easy, well-coordinated detoxification process in your body? Do you have a good detox ability? Because if it's stressed out, overwhelmed, you're not going to detox very well. And that's another everyday process. Your cells are burning off energy and there's waste products, and your body has to be able to handle that and get rid of that. And sometimes when we eat certain foods, parts of it is toxic, and the body has to be able to deal with that. Or we are actually ingesting toxins, if it's caffeine or alcohol or nicotine or sugar or any kind of processed chemical that's in our food supply. So think of the chemical exposures that your brain has to deal with, because that can slow down the healing process. It adds more work to the body, and that can be exhausting. So that is the C, chemical part of impact. Last one, T, teach. The brain learns everything you teach it. So now there's a repetitive theme here. The exposures and repetition in your life teaches your brain. And we can talk to the brain and change up some of this patterning, introduce a better pattern, something that you desire, so your body functions better. And remember, everything the brain does is correct for the situation. If we understand the situation a little more deeply, we can get a handle on things and not feel like we're at the mercy of the world, at the mercy of the environment. Things happen to us, but how we respond is going to help us stay healthy and balanced and happy and energetic. There's 4 challenges to the nervous system. So moving on to a different topic here. We know the impact, the intelligence, the mechanics, the psychology, the adjustment, the chemical, the teach. We understand how to impact our everyday life with those 5 ideas. But there's 4 challenges to the nervous system that it deals with every day. And if we address those as well, we can reduce the brain drain, because too much stress activity is an energy stealer. You burn through the energy, and the problem is we don't rebuild and replenish that energy back up. The 4 challenges: poisoning, starvation, interrupted rebuilding, and brain alarm. And this is all directed by the nervous system. I will talk about that on a different video, and you can take that information so you can address the things that may be wearing out your nervous system. How can you give your brain a break? How can you replenish? What are the things you can do for yourself so you can maintain your health and your energy and your vitality and have a positive outlook on life? We'll talk about that in the next video. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching.